What's up, YouTube? We received a collection of resources by a guy named Jason Murray. So if you're someone that's starting in art direction or even someone who's been there for a while, this collection is sure to help you out. Let's give it a dive. Alright, so the collection that Jason put together is called the Art Director Toolbox. And as I was skimming through this thing, there are a lot of resources that I didn't even know about. So my hope is that we can just unleash all the secrets, give you and I some much needed inspiration and places to get stuff. So let's check it out. Alright, the Art Director Toolbox. This toolbox is a massive list of a directory of all the resources and tools I have found helpful as a junior art director trying to hit the ground running and succeed at my job. This is for people in ad school, people starting to get into the industry, and really any of us, because as I was looking at this, I was like, wow, a lot of this could help me at my job every day too. So mad ups to Jason for putting this together. All right, so the first thing he categorizes is inspirational tools. And some of these we've talked about before, but some of these will be brand new to you and brand new to me. So the first one is Ads of the World. It's basically where you go to look at ads that have been published, ads that are out there. So I check back with Ads of the World frequently. It's definitely a resource you go to see what people are doing, what the industry trends are, and what kind of ads are popping in the industry at the moment. The next thing I want to look at is this Deck of Brilliance. And this is one that I skimmed over and was like, holy shit, this thing's fucking amazing. So let's dive deeper into this thing. So if you've watched my videos, I have this video about how to come up with a big idea and the questions to ask to do so. So this deckofbrilliance.com is essentially that. It shows you actual examples and ads based on that, question and that idea sparker. So for instance, this dramatize the problem. If we click on that, we learn a little bit more about how to make your mind think about your problem in a new, interesting way through dramatization. And they have a list of example ads and commercials that use that tool. So just really cool, different ways to think about your stuff and really helps you spark ideas. So amazing resource. All right, next we have activation ideas. So this is basically a list of case studies. Usually they're award winners, but it's not only things that have been popping in the industry that you can find in Ads of the World, but it tells a little bit about it. If we click on It's Time to Eat Together, it shows this Coca-Cola campaign, it structures it. It's also a great way to look how industry experts are selling in ideas, and that'll help you when you're trying to put your portfolio together as well to help sell your ideas. So really great stuff, amazing resource that honestly I didn't know about. Next we have Bhands, which I've talked about before. This has seen a lot of other creatives post their kind of artwork. Design Inspiration we've also looked at. That's a great place for packaging as well. You've got your Dribble, which is great for vector or any kind of motion graphic stuff, just to get inspired and maybe think of things in a new way. Something I always try to tell people is, when you're thinking about designing something, don't just design it exactly how you think it would look. For instance, if you were trying to illustrate a basketball, don't just illustrate the basketball like you would draw it in Pictionary to your friends. Like, really think about how to stylistically change it. Use different line weights and thicknesses to really make it different. And Dribble is one of those places you can go to see how different people stylize that art. You can literally search basketball and see how tons of designers have interpreted what a basketball looks like. So really cool resource. So this live science thing, I think this is like, the latest tech breakthroughs and science and things of that nature. So it might be a resource that you use if you're trying to think outside of the box with your product and potentially utilize some different kind of media and latest trends to help your activation come to life. Lots of free tutorials. Also, of course, check out Skillshare and Lynda. And then this page was interesting because there's us in the center. That's kind of cool. So super stoked to be included in this toolkit. That means I'm a resource for at least somebody, so I'll take it. Come to this channel if you're an aspiring art director and want to dive into the process and try to see how things work. But also, these other resources on this page are vastly important, so make sure to check them out. The first one is The Future. The Future is basically my channel on steroids. It's an agency that actually does a lot of the things that I do. They just do these like larger workshop type things. So definitely check them out if you haven't already. The chances of you hearing of my channel before this channel are pretty unlikely. It's a big channel, but you should definitely check them out. Jeremy Carson. So Jeremy Carson has tons of blogs, if you've looked on LinkedIn at advertising at all, you've seen him. He has a great resource as well. He talks about, getting into the industry as well. We have a lot of parallel paths, so make sure to check him out. I've actually been talking to Jeremy, and we will be doing a collaboration at some point. We have to figure out what that collaboration is necessarily, what kind of things we want to talk about, but that is definitely in the pipeline, so be ready for that. And another one that's not on here, it's more design oriented than it is art direction and advertising, but Zimri Mayfield's channel is pretty interesting too. Really quirky dude, has design competitions, critiques logos. And then William Patterson as well. He's been doing a lot of great stuff lately. He's been kind of exploding in the design scene, so definitely check out that YouTube channel as well. It's just a vast amount of resources, and if you love their channel more than mine, so be it. But I think that they would all be very valuable for you, so definitely keep looking. All right, and then free stock images, because this is the biggest complaint, right? You're building your campaign and you don't have high resolution imagery or high resolution video to create things. And you're like, I can't shoot this myself, I don't have the means, I don't have the capabilities, bullshit. Even in the industry, there's a lot of times we can't afford a photo shoot. Maybe it's just timing doesn't allow us to do it. So a lot of the times we have to use stock photography, and we usually have to go through Getty and pay lots of money and stuff because they're big clients like Samsung and Audi. But there is a resource for you that can do that as well with no cost. So as long as you're not using this for commercial purposes, go to unsplash.com. That's a big one. You can search tons of high resolution imagery for your ads. It's really great, especially for your presentations. If you're putting together some presentation decks, it's also an amazing resource. Pexels is another one I use. He has another one, Pixabay, listed, and Free Pick for vector art. Yes, there would still be a lot of comping work that would have to be done. You probably can't just slap one of these images and call it an ad, but it is a great resource to start. And then there's the Noun Project, which I love. So the Noun Project is basically icons. If you're like, oh, I need to make an icon for a keyboard, you can go to Noun Project, type in keyboard, and see how tons of people have basically made a keyboard. You can also download that vector, but I would challenge you to switch it up and at least just use it for inspiration and make your own iconography. It just makes you look better as a designer. So take it with a grain of salt. That's my recommendation. Next is Mockups and Prototyping Tools. So he has Ad Parlor listed, Mockup World, Facebook Creative Hub, which Facebook's done a great job of showing people what their ads would look like on Facebook. And you can actually go on here and make quick and easy social ads. So try that out. Bot Frame allows you to do kind of chatbot mockups. One that's not listed here that I would absolutely add to this list is graphicburger.com. It is the easiest way to make any of your stuff look extremely professional. They're very easy Photoshop templates. You download a billboard template, you throw your creative into the smart object, you click OK, and your thing is now nicely lit up on a billboard. So super quick, super easy. In 5 minutes, you can get high quality stuff. Should definitely do it. All right, the next are some design tools. He's got some color palette things, Coolors, which I think used to be spelled differently or be bought by Adobe. Maybe it's changed, but anyway, so this and Peloton are two ways if you're like, I don't know what colors to use. It's definitely a place you can go and experiment and see what kind of colors work together well. You get a list of palettes. It auto-generates palettes for you, so you can get just color after color after color. Definitely worth a look, for sure. And then industry news, we've been through some of this before. Adweek, Ad Age, The Drum, all resources you should check in with regularly just to see what kind of things are happening in the industry. If you don't keep an eye on this stuff, you'll get left behind. I went probably 2 years without really glancing at too much ad news, and I feel like I kind of took a step backwards because the truth is, on the day-to-day, you're doing a lot of the same things. And so if you don't immerse yourself in this new technology and these new trends, you won't start thinking about your brand in a new way. So it's an extremely important thing to do. You know, sometimes you just don't feel like you have time for it, and there's other things you'd rather prioritize in front of it, but it is vastly important. So you should try it. Podcast is last on here. Honestly, I don't listen to a lot of advertising podcasts. I'm in the podcast game for that wellness stuff. If I do hit a podcast up, it's probably Gary Vaynerchuk's podcast, just because it is marketing related and business related and things that I'm just interested in. But yeah, that's probably an ad. Fearless, the art of creative leadership. Don't get me started. And again, our guy, the future, because this guy, Chris Dew, he has made an amazing channel on YouTube, but also an amazing podcast where he has tons of guest speakers and people to come in to provide tremendous value. So definitely check him out as well. And that's the toolbox, you guys. We skimmed through everything very quickly. If you want to take a deeper dive into this toolbox, because you absolutely should, you should check out the link in the description. It will take you to Jason Murray's page to download the PDF of the toolbox. If you want to be a little nice too, you could throw him a little love and maybe donate $1 or $2. So that's it for today, and until the next one, I'll catch you later.